Hear of the Lord's passion.
It was a Sunday before Passover, and the people had heard that Jesus was in Jerusalem. Gathering palm branches, they ran out to meet him, waving the palms in the air and praising him.
Hosanna! 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 Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel.
As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, Jesus wept over it and said,
O Jerusalem, how often have I longed to gather your children together, but you were not willing. If you had only known on this day what would bring you peace. But you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you.
For he knew that in a matter of days, this same crowd would rise against him with cries of, "Crucify!" Hear of the Lord's promise.
In the last days you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds with great power and glory. And he will send his angels and gather his children from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of the heavens.
Hosanna,
of the Lord's Passion.
On Thursday evening, Jesus and his disciples gathered for the Passover meal. Taking the bread, Jesus gave thanks, broke it, and gave it to them, saying,
This is my body, given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.
Then he took the cup, gave thanks, and said,
This is my blood, which is poured out for the forgiveness of sins.
As he did so, his heart was heavy, for he knew that before the night was over, one of the 12 would betray him, another would deny him, and the rest would desert him, leaving him alone. Hear of the Lord's promise.
I tell you the truth. I will not drink again of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it anew with you in the kingdom.
Blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. Hear of the Lord's Passion.
After the meal, they went to Gethsemane, an olive grove where the disciples frequently met with Jesus. Jesus told them,
In a little while, you will see me no more. You will grieve, but your grief will turn to joy. Sit here while I pray.
Taking Peter, James, and John with him, he began to feel deeply troubled.
My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch.
Going a little farther, he fell to the ground and prayed,
Father, if it is possible, take this cup from me. Yet thy will, not mine, be done.
When he returned, The disciples were sleeping. Twice more he left to pray, and each time returned to find them asleep. At that moment, Judas appeared along with a crowd of armed men. Walking up to Jesus, Judas kissed him on the cheek and said,
"Greetings, teacher."
As the men arrested Jesus and led him away, all the disciples fled in fear. But Peter followed at a great distance. Hear of the Lord's promise.
And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain." Hear of the Lord's passion.
That night, as Jesus was being interrogated, Peter stood outside warming his hands at the fire. 3 times he was asked if he knew Jesus, and each time he denied it. When he realized what he had done, he was overcome with shame. Soon after, Jesus was brought to Pilate, who handed him over to be beaten. The soldiers dressed him in a purple robe and fashioned a crown of thorns and placed it on his head. They knelt before him and mocked him, saying,
"All hail, King!"
Now it was the custom at Passover to release a prisoner of the people's choosing. So Pilate brought Jesus and a notorious prisoner named Barabbas before the crowd. Still wearing the purple robe, Jesus stood in silence before them. Pilate said,
"Behold your king. Whom do you want me to release to you, Jesus or Barabbas?"
Barabbas!
"And what shall I do with the one called Christ?"
Crucify him!
"Shall I crucify your king?"
"We have no king but Caesar. Crucify him!
So Pilate released Barabbas and surrendered Jesus to be crucified.
Hear of the Lord's promise.
As surely as I live, says the Lord, every knee will bow before me, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord.
Hear of the Lord's passion.
The soldiers took charge of Jesus and led him to a hill called Golgotha, where they crucified him with 2 other prisoners. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. Those who passed by hurled insults at him and mocked him. He saved others, they said, but he can't save himself. Those crucified with him also heaped insults on him. At noon, the sun stopped shining, and darkness covered the land until 3 in the afternoon. Then Jesus cried out in a loud voice,
my God, why have you forsaken me?
And with a loud cry, Jesus bowed his head and died. Hear of the Lord's promise.
I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father. I say to all of you, you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Father.
When they crucified
Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to the tomb. When they arrived, they saw that the stone had been rolled away from its entrance. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in white. He said,
"Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Go quickly now and tell the disciples."
The women hurried away from the tomb, afraid, yet filled with joy, and ran to tell the disciples. Hear of the Lord's promise.
For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead of Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so we will be with the Lord forever.